How's it going, guys? My name is Jamie, and welcome back to the block. It's been a long time coming, but welcome back. We finally got the ABCs of Horror B Division out. It's taken me 65 hours to complete this. I've been doing it in the background amongst everything else, and I really enjoy these. These are really fun for me, so I think I figured out a way to edit this in a way that I don't get demonetized or copywritten. I'm not monetized to begin with, but anyhow, this is a series in which I watch 10 horror movies with the corresponding letter. This video is being B. You can check out A Divisions. I'll try to link it up here or down in the description. I watched all of these movies. I've never seen them before. Some of them are because I thought they looked stupid because of the trailer, and other ones I had never even heard of. So I just did a quick Google search, got them up. So ABCs of Horror, B Division, finally here. Really excited to dive into this real quick. Possible spoiler alert for these movies right here. All right, did you see them? Potential spoiler warning for all of them because I'm going to be going through all of them. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, so the first movie I watched on this list was Bird Box with Sandra Bullock, and it came out in 2018, and I did not watch this movie because I thought it looked stupid. The trailer does not do it any service at all. The trailer looks dumb as hell. So when this video idea came up, it immediately went on the list for the B's because otherwise I wasn't going to watch it. And I'll say it right now with my chest. I was wrong. I very much enjoyed this movie. I try to take notes when I do these. I'm not great at it because when I'm watching a movie, like, I am in the zone, man. I am, like, in it, and it's really hard for me to stop and take notes. But starting out with this movie, like I said, I wasn't feeling it just because I wasn't excited for it. I thought it was going to be stupid. The first thing I wrote here was Sandra Bullock's character's name, Melanie. What a bitch, ? And the reason is because this movie opens up with her and 2 children blindfolded, and she's threatening them that she will personally hurt them if they take their blindfolds off. So I paused it, and I was like, I wrote down, what a bitch, threatening kids. So that's the first impression I got out of this. It makes a little more sense going down the road. I'm not going to spoil too much about it, but I am gonna spoil this and that because I do recommend you go out and experience, because in my opinion this is up there with A Quiet Place. It's like right under A Quiet Place quality wise. Don't even get me started on The Quiet Place, people. They should not have survived as long as they did. That's a whole nother video if you want that. But anyhow, so this movie cuts back and forth between present time and then how this shit set up. All right, so how it began and where she is now. And it's a very, very cool idea. It's a very unique idea. The show is great at generating tension, and surprisingly, it's great at making me care about characters. There are characters that died that I was like, damn, man, that was like I was rooting. I was rooting for the characters, and it doesn't pull punches. No one is actually safe. Anyone could die at any time. So they had good characters. They had some stereotypical characters, like, you know, the one that don't want to let no one in and carries a gun and is okay with just killing anyone that they come across. So essentially what has happened here is what the information that we get is something happened at some point. All right. We got Sandra Bullock. She's pregnant. And this is all within the first 20 minutes. Sandra Bullock's pregnant. Her sister's driving her somewhere. And then all of a sudden, her sister says something about her mother, and then just drives the car, like, off into a truck or something. Like, flips their fucking vehicle and kills herself. Or, sorry, unalives herself. And Sandra Bullock survives. Family comes out. And the wife of this family comes out to help her because she's pregnant. And her husband tries to stop her, but she goes out there. And while she's helping Sandra Bullock, she looks up. And then she offs herself. She just like drives it. She just like walks over to a burning car, opens the door, and sits in it. And then it just burns up. Like, it is. There's some crazy fucking kills in this. Like, But so yeah, the whole thing is if you see it, there's two things that can happen. One, you control alt delete yourself. You make yourself past tense, or, and this isn't even really confirmed, or it makes you crazy enough that you go around finding survivors and holding them down and forcing them to open their eyes and look at it. Now, there is a chance that these particular characters already existed in like a cult mentality. They knew this was coming, but it's never truly confirmed. So I'm going to say it is the effect of whatever this entity is. And this is where it starts to lose points, because you don't see the thing ever. All you see is bushes moving and stuff. We don't get any true lore about what's going on. I'm led to believe, based off of my interpretation, this is some sort of angel or some sort of biblical rapture situation that we have going on. Because there is no physical thing there. But somehow it makes you see someone that is no longer with you, and then it forces you to make yourself past tense. So a lot of interesting kills, a lot of interesting ideas, and there's huge jumps in logic, because this becomes like a quarantine survival movie at this point. Like, they're trying to get supplies, they're trying to keep people out, they're walking around blindfolded, driving kind of blindfolded, using GPS to tell them where to go. A lot of goofy stuff like that, but it kind of works within the lore. And like I said, there's a lot of characters that I really enjoyed that ended up getting murked. But there's these huge things that we, like, apparently whatever this entity is cannot enter the inside of anywhere. It has to stay outside. Don't know why. That's just something that they think, and that happens to be what it is. So, I'm not going to spoil the ending or anything like this, but yes, it does ramp up in action, and it does have it has a conclusion. It's not quite satisfying for me. I would like a second one to wrap this all up. But Sandra Bullock has a touch of the tism. Her character doesn't really connect with humans very well. She has a problem with empathy and stuff like that. So that's where we get... And plus, if the kids open their eyes, I've explained what would happen. So that explains her threatening the kids. In this situation, I could see maybe how... how that would be appropriate to scare the kids into not taking off their blindfolds. Okay? But overall, Sandra Bullock goes through a great character arc throughout this, and I really enjoyed this. I'm locking this in at a 7 out of 10 when I really expected to be walking into a 3 out of 10 movie. I gave A Quiet Place an 8 out of 10. If you, like I said, I can do a whole video on how dumb A Quiet Place actually is, but we're talking about Bird Box on Netflix, 2018, Sandra Bullock, and I'm dropping it at a 7 out of 10. For me, a 5 out of 10 is an average movie, so this is an above average, a pretty freaking good film. I've watched it twice, actually. I watched it in my free time, and I still thoroughly enjoyed it. So, yes, while the idea seems odd and seems like a bad idea, the way the story is told and the way things pan out is actually quite fun. It loses points for me because everything's just kind of assumed with whatever this entity is. We get no real facts about it outside of the fact that it's dangerous and you will off yourself. So, yeah. And apparently blind people are immune to it, so it is a fully 100%, if you cannot see it, you are safe, which doesn't make sense to me. So the real problem is the lack of world building around whatever this is, the lack of coming to understand really anything about it or see, or so at a certain point the creature becomes more, or entity or whatever you want to call it, it becomes more of a mental thing. You think it's out there, so it probably is. And somehow it's everywhere all at once. So it really doesn't matter if I'm here and you're in New York. If we look outside, we'll see it. So I don't these are the things that it has a problem with. But as far as characters, tension, kills, all of that, it's good. I like it. I actually genuinely enjoy it. So, 7 out of 10 for Bird Box. And moving on to the second movie I watched on this, which was another one. I thought the trailer looked stupid. I was not interested in watching it at all. And this one I feel like I was right about. It is called The BABDOOK. And essentially what we have here is, I think, some sort of haunting by a demon or a ghost named Mr. Babadook, who is summoned by a book called The Babadook. It's a little pop-out book. Let's see what I wrote here. Let's see here. We have Amelia, the mom, and Samuel. What did I write here? And the mom is desperately sleep deprived. It's heavily implied that Daddy has gone away to a higher plane. He is now past tense. He's dead. So we get Mommy being really sad, and we get Samuel being a giant dude. All right, straight up. Mom turns heel. I'm gonna spoil some of this. I'm gonna spoil a lot of this because I don't really recommend anyone go. Mom turns heel about 30 minutes prior to the end of the movie. So we got 30 minutes left. Mom turns heel, gets possessed, which we'll talk about why I'm using air quotations, and goes off to try to kill Samuel, her son. And I'm 100% on Mom's side. All right, the way this kid acts is fucking unacceptable for any human being on the face of the planet. Right? You got this kid screaming, punching the back of the seat while she's trying to drive, like just at the top of his lungs, yelling, screaming, shouting, all this nonsense. We don't play that, okay? If you're having a feeling, we can talk about it, but if you don't act like that, I'm gonna bust your head open, all right? It's all fun and games here. I don't bust children's heads open anymore. The monster isn't very intimidating at all. He looks like a has-been hotel reject right here, or here, whichever way I decide to put it. And imagine being afraid of this has-been hotel-looking motherfucker. Like, skin and bones, black. I mean, I guess if you're a kid, maybe a little scary. And very easy entity to beat. All you have to do is tell it to go away, and then it'll hide in your basement. And the movie ends with the mom and Samuel being super happy, and then she goes down to the basement and feeds the Babadook worms, because I guess now he lives in the basement. That's literally what happens. I don't know why people were glazing this movie so much. It's a 2014 movie. I never felt any real tension, any real scares, I really just felt bored and was fighting to stay awake throughout this movie. You get a couple of jump scares that are extremely predictable. They use dark lighting to try to bring some creepiness into it, but the atmosphere is just all over the place, and it almost seems like the characters know that they're acting, and you can tell that they know that they're acting, so nothing ever seems like genuine. Everything seems played up for the sake of playing it up. And this one I saw on Hulu, 2014 movie, and I'm gonna have to give the Babadook a 4 out of 10. This movie I guess just wasn't for me. There's a lot of people out there that like it. It's so fucking boring. And that's why I got into super heavy spoilers and explained the ending. So, yeah. Well, let me know what you guys think. So are you pro Babadook? Or are you like me and just was like, okay? This is not the worst movie on this list, okay? When I say I pick them random, I pick them pretty fucking random, okay? And so, Babadook, 4 out of 10. And we're moving on to a movie called Bone Tomahawk. Now, Bone Tomahawk, I found this on Hulu. It's a 2015 movie starring Kurt Russell. And he plays a character of a small town called Bright Hope. And he is a no-nonsense sheriff with a heart of gold named Franklin Hunt, who has a fondness for shooting drifters in the leg. apparently this is something that he does often. And we see that play out. But he's got to stick with the plot. And so essentially what this plot revolves around is he's the sheriff of this town. A drifter comes through, shoots him in the leg. And then cannibals come to town, Indian cannibals. They call them troglodytes. They actually hire an Indian to help track them. And he's like, no, they're not like me. I don't know much about these because we stay away from them. They're not like my tribe. They're troglodytes. They're inbred. They eat each other. They eat humans. They're barbarians. And I'm not even going to go up there with you. But essentially, some townspeople get kidnapped by these troglodytes, and our boy Franklin Hunt, Sheriff Hunt, assembles a posse to go out and retrieve them and bring them back. And that is where the shenanigans start. This is a Western horror movie, and it also devolves into like a kind of a survival movie against the elements as well. So you have all this intersecting. Kurt Russell is a cowboy. He always nails it. From Wyatt Earp to this, it's always great. And the cast surrounding him is actually quite great also. We have a lot of great character moments, and I don't want to spoil too much of this, but and now if you think this is going to be from beginning to end like Hills Have Eyes, where it's just constant gore, constant screaming, constant heck. No, there's a lot of quiet moments, and then it ramps up when it's needed, when there's confrontation. But we actually spend some time with these characters, and we get to learn about them. We get a few flashbacks for some of the characters. We get them bonding over a fire, like telling their stories. And it really makes you, when the shit does hit the fan, it really makes you fear for these characters. And I won't say who, I won't say when, but this has one of the most violent, painful kills I've seen in a movie in a long time. It really comes out of nowhere. They start to do it, and you're like, what are they doing? What are they? Oh no. And this dude's alive for most of it. So it's done as a scare tactic. It works. It worked on me. I'm not even there. So essentially, that's the way it rolls around. Love the acting. Love the practical effects. I love the way it is set up. And I love the environment. It takes place in the 1890s to just give you a feel of where this is coming from. And yes, I highly recommend it. I'm actually going to throw Bone Tomahawk at a 9 out of 10. Really enjoyed this. I would watch it again, definitely. I think it's a very unique experience, and a lot of people haven't heard about this movie from my experience. I've brought it up to a few people that I know watch horror movies, and a lot of people have said they've never even heard of it. So, Bone Tomahawk. Hulu, 2015 film, Kurt Russell. Like I said, great ride. Love it. And it's a hard sell for me on Westerns. I can think of like 3 legit Westerns now that I like. And this, Tombstone, and Young Guns. And I don't count Blazing Saddles. It's a comedy. It's just set in a Western theme. So, yeah, definitely go check this out if you're in the mood, if you like horror, if you like Western stuff, if you like a little bit of survival, if you like character building and storytelling. I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Go check it out. 9 out of 10. And next one, number 4, is one I found scrolling through Hulu called Books of Blood. I have never heard of this. I have never seen this. I've never even seen a trailer. And so this is secretly an anthology. All right, it's telling 3-4 different stories that all coincide with each other eventually. And that is the big twist, but the way they intersect is what's really interesting here. And I'm going to keep that close to the chest because I highly recommend you watch this one too. So Books of Blood, it opens up with something called a Sleep and Go. There's an app called Sleep and Go, and our main character is going to go to one of these and stay the night there. And essentially it's where you can go live in a spare bedroom in someone's home and kind of rent it out like a hotel room. And essentially weird shit starts happening. The people aren't what they seem. That whole chestnut. And this is only part 1 of the anthology. So, like, I'll get a little bit into this, but Yeah, there's kind of this whole undertone of maybe a ritual going on. These people are too nice, kind of like Rosemary's baby situation. Like something's not quite right about these people, but due to circumstances, you kind of have to stay another night and then stay another night. And there's some excellent kills here, some excellent acting from some new faces that I haven't seen in a while. So the main character Jenna that is doing this sleep and go thing has mesophobia, which is a hatred of sound. She's constantly wearing earmuffs, which leads to some interesting things going on in the background because she can't hear. So that's why I wrote that down. I wanted to point that out because there's some really interesting scenes, some unique stuff that happens because she's constantly wearing earbuds in white and blocking out noise around her. And so that leads to opportunities to do stuff in the background that build tension. And that's all you get for Books of Blood, because it goes down a whole fucking wacky road. Okay, I highly recommend you guys go check this out. Hulu. Man, it's a 2020 film, and I'm going to drop it at an 8 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, especially going in blind, not knowing what to expect. It surprised me on every level. And like I said, it's not that all these stories intersect. It's not that they do that. It's how they do it that kind of made my brain just be like, what? Okay, all right, cool. That's unique. So very unique horror movie here. You know, it's not quite like, it's not like Terrifier or anything where there's just buckets of blood being thrown everywhere. But there is some good shit. I highly recommend it. All right. Number 5 is a A24 film called Beau is Afraid on HBO Max. And it's a 2023 film. And I've got it written right here. Huh? What the fuck? Tragic? And let me tell you. Yes. Yes, all of those make sense in some sort of context. This movie is insane. Do not watch unless you are sober. Don't take drugs and watch this. There's a character called the Birthday Boy Stabber. Just to kind of give you a hint of the tone, like that's a news broadcast going on in the background saying that the Birthday Boy Stabber is still at large. And it's a picture of a naked old man with a gray beard, and he's got a knife, and they have a full picture of him in public coming out from behind a car. And he's claimed like 23 victims, and he's still at large. And it kind of gives you the tone. This is a very dark horror. I want to say comedy, because I'm still piecing pieces of it together in my head. I've watched this movie twice. And it says he has been described as a circumcised, middle-aged white man. So, but this stars Joaquin Phoenix, and this really, really flexes his acting talent. He plays a character named Beau, who is afraid of outside. I'm not gonna spoil too much of this, but the way I can describe Beau's life is he is the unluckiest lucky guy out there. I would say anything good that comes towards him comes with a huge peril and a huge cost. And this is a twisty, topsy-turvy, super, like, not everyone's good. This is one of those movies where if no one's going to say, Beau is Afraid? Yeah, it's all right. All right, anyone that watches this movie, they are either going to hate it or they are going to love it. And I love it. All right, I love it. This is on the level of crazy, if you go a horror route with it, of everything, everywhere, all at once. This thing, I'm not sure what's real when it's going on. I'm not sure what the next thing is going to happen. I'm not even sure how things are connecting. There's a certain point in this where this dude sets down. Okay, so he escapes people trying to murder him. I'm going to try to be as vivid as I can. Immediately runs through the woods, bumps into a cult of people. And this cult is very kind to him, brings him, sets him down to a play in the woods. And then this dude proceeds to live out his entire life through being an old man and he's about to die, and then he time travels back around to himself, sitting down, watching the play, and now he's at his younger age. And I'm like, huh? Like, what is happening? So nothing you actually see in this is as what it seems, and it slowly contorts. Everything looks like a good thing, and then it slowly twists into something bad and terrible and gross and disgusting. And there's some great practical effects here. What is this? What did I write here? Dude's dad. Oh, yeah. Bo's dad is literally a dick. Literally a giant dick. And when I say literally, I'm not using it as misusing the word literally. His dad is literally a giant penis. I cannot state that more clearly than that. Like, literally. Okay? His mom is terrible. And that's all I really want to tell you about it, because I really recommend people go watch this. It is a very unique gem of a horror movie, and it's very dark comedy. Okay? There's so many times where something terrible is actually happening, but it's so funny in a specific way. And it's really hard to explain without spoiling it. But if you go in with it, that mentality, I think you can enjoy this. But yeah, Beau is Afraid, HBO Max 2023 movie starring Joaquin Phoenix as Beau, giving it a 10 out of 10. I love this movie. It is unique. I was entertained the entire time, trying to figure out what was going on and what the next fucking rabbit hole the guy was going to fall into. It really, by the end of it, you're fucking speechless. Like, you can just be like, what the fuck? What? Huh? Like, so yes, I highly recommend. It is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Like I said, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. No one is going to be like, that movie's all right. No, this is one of those where it's one side or the other. But for me, I love it, and I'm glad I finally watched it. Moving on to the next movie, Bloodline. This was on Amazon Prime, and it stars Sean William Scott as a character named Evan Cole. This is a thriller, kind of a Dexter type movie. Evan Cole has the urge to kill. He's a social worker. He had a rough childhood, and whenever he finds that a child has been abused or hurt or anything like that, he takes it upon himself to track them down and violently make them past tense. And I really enjoy that for the start. But we also have some other shit going on here. We've got... we got Dickie Dale from My Name is Earl. I don't know if you remember Patty the Daytime Hooker, but she plays his mom, and he's just had a kid. They've got great practical effects in here with the kills. I really enjoy that. And Sean William Scott's ability to go from fun, lovable, like kind-hearted individual to straight fucking psycho is really great. And I think Sean William Scott is underrated amongst the population for his ability to turn it on and off like that. He's been known for most of his acting career as Stifler and as the comedy character. But this really takes his acting to new heights. You get little flashbacks here and there. You get great conversations with him and his victims, and he's genuinely trying to understand why someone would treat a child this way, because he was treated this way as a child. And that's the interesting part about this, is he wants to stop these things from happening because the law doesn't work, and he understands that. But you get a lot of sections where you're like, fuck, he's caught now. He's like, just, it's kind of like Dexter. For something to interweave and intersect, and he gets out of it and continues doing what he's doing with he's got a wife, baby on the way. She has no idea. So you can only imagine how things are going to go when and if she finds out, and I'm going to keep that to myself because I do recommend everyone go watch Bloodline. Support my boy Sean William Scott. He needs more roles. He is a great acting talent, comedically and dramatically. And I'm going to drop Bloodline on Netflix. Amazon Prime 2018. I gave it a solid 8 out of 10. Highly enjoyable. Loved it. Can't believe I haven't heard of it. I can't believe it's not more popular. Such a good time. And so, moving on from Bloodline, the 7th movie I watched was... And I picked it because it was an A24 film and they haven't done me wrong so far. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. 2022. And this is on Amazon Prime. This is the worst movie on this list by a lot. I can't believe that this is on A24's movies. Absolute Pete Davidson is the only person I really recognize from it, and I'm going to spoil this one so you don't have to suffer through it. Alright, so this movie, all the characters are stupid, dumb, unlikable pieces of shit. No one is worth any... I wouldn't fucking give them $1 if they were begging on the street. They're such shitty people. But essentially what this is all these friends get together at the penthouse because they're all rich, spoiled assholes. And a hurricane's coming in, so they're going to have a hurricane party. And they decide that they're going to play Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. The power's knocked out. And essentially what it is you draw names, and one of them gets to be the killer, and then you sneak around in the darkness, and if you touch someone, they gotta lay down and play like they're dead, and if another survivor finds them, they gotta yell Bodies, 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 and they get together and figure out who the killer... It's basically Among Us. That's who it is. Well, one of the characters actually ends up dead. For real. So... Then we go through this whole thing where everyone's accusing everyone and everyone's suspicious and people die because of this, just to come back around and find out that Mr. Pete Davidson's character was outside in a hurricane twirling a sword around for a fucking TikTok video and hit himself in the neck, and then the sword got dropped and lost in the mud, and he was the first victim, and that's what fueled all the other chaos that comes from this, and everyone else dying, and all the mistrust, and all that dumb shit was because literally everyone's stupid. This movie might as well be called the Darwin Awards, okay? Everyone that dies in this movie dies because they are stupid. No other reason, no other plot points, nothing. It is, these people are stupid rich assholes, and they essentially killed themselves. Because they're stupid. I hate this movie. It's stupid. I don't know how it got made. It tries to kind of be a horror comedy, but none of the jokes land. Nothing is funny about this, except... seeing Pete Davidson die, I guess, was cool. I already saw him die in Suicide Squad, so... But, yeah, I net this a 1 out of 10 for Bodies, Bodies. Like, 1 out of 10. The only good thing I can say about it is it's a movie, and that in itself is a negative to me. So, terrible movie. The worst movie on this list by a long shot. So, that's all I really got to say about Bodies. Boo. Ugh. Alright. Moving on to the 8th movie I watched. Becky on Paramount Plus. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but there is a sequel to this called Wrath of Becky. But the reason I picked this one is because I saw Kevin James in it, and he was clearly portraying a bad guy. So I wanted to see his acting chops here as a bad guy. He plays the worst guy. Like, he plays like he's a fucking Nazi. He has a swastika on the back of his bald head and the whole 9 yards. So we essentially have Becky. She's a 13-year-old girl that weighs 100 pounds, and it's her versus 4 full-grown Nazi men that just broke out of prison. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hit a 100-pound 13-year-old girl, she rarely gets back up and beats the shit out of me. But it's just a movie, so we'll shelf that for now. This had the potential to be very, very... This is essentially an R-rated Home Alone, is what it evolves into. She starts making traps and all this other shit after they come to get... What was it? I thought I wrote it down. There's a ring or a pendant or something that the Nazis are after that are under the house. And this thing gets no backstory at all. There's no reason there's after it. All they really say is if they get this item, the master race will be restored. All right, it might as well just be a rock that says plot device is all. Like, so they're after this rock they're after this plot device, and essentially the problem with this movie, the real problem, is it's too serious. If they had leaned into the comedy of it, this actually could have been like a pretty fucking good masterpiece, but they play it too safe, and essentially just Becky turns into fucking Nancy Wheeler from season 5 of Stranger Things and just starts offing these dudes left and right. It's not believable in any way, shape, or form. The acting, unfortunately, was subpar here. There are some cool scenes. Kevin James's character gets like stabbed in the eye, and he's got to cut his eyeball out because it's like hanging out. So he's got to he gets a fucking steak knife and he starts sawing through the fucking tendons that hold his eye in. That was pretty cool. And then he wears an eye patch the whole time, which kind of undercuts it. But they play it serious, so no one even points out like calling him a pirate or anything. And so anytime there was a chance to like elevate this with some comedy and turn it into a kind of a comedy slasher horror Home Alone type situation, they tried to play it straight, and none of it comes off as believable when they're playing it as serious as they're trying to play it. I have seen the trailer for the sequel, and it looks like they're leaning a little bit more into the comedy, so I think they already sensed that from the first one. But apparently it done good enough to get a sequel, and I will watch the sequel because it's got Sean William Scott as the bad guy in it now. There are certain actors that I will give a shot anytime, but this didn't land for me. But I will say it's better than Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's better than the BABDOOK. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It's an average movie. I would put it on the background while I'm doing dishes or something like that. But as to sit down and seriously watch it again, I don't see myself doing that. So, Becky, I'm going to throw that up at a 5 out of 10. And you can watch that on Paramount Plus. 2020 movie. But like I said, it's just they played it too serious when this was the perfect opportunity. If you watch it, you'll see all the times where they could have made a joke and kind of twisted it and played around with it to get some comedic, and this could have been elevated to a 7 or an 8 out of 10. But for me, 5 out of 10. Nothing amazing, just kind of meh. So there's Becky. The 9th movie I watched was The Bye-Bye Man. I know, sounds dumb. Paramount Plus, and this is a 2017 movie. It's got a good tone, and it's got a decent monster. So essentially, we don't really know what the Bye-Bye Man is. He kind of exists for the sake of people believe he exists. It's kind of one of those things. And I will say, I think this is an underrated movie. I think it should have reached for an R rating. That way we could have got some good, really visceral kills. But essentially is, if you think of him, if you say his name, he gets you and you die. We've got pretty decent cast of characters here. Like, none that are like A-list status, but their acting chops are good. And I actually want people to experience this one, so actually go check it out. It's a pretty good by the books monster movie. This is something like I'm surprised we don't have 2 or 3 of these coming out, because I could see like a little franchise coming out of this, like a new agey, like a Nightmare on Elm Street type situation where we can get several movies moving on. But Bye-Bye Man, it's not bad. It's actually a good movie. The only reviews I actually saw on this because I check out some, reviews just to kind of see how people are feeling about the specific movie after I've watched it. And the results were people hate this movie. I'm not quite sure why. I thought this was pretty well done for what it is. And I think sequel, I don't understand how it didn't get a sequel, actually. It has that feel to it. And I just think a lot of people making horror don't understand that PG-13 horror is only a thing people can do correctly. A finite few people can do correctly. It's you have to make it horrifying in some way. And this is creepy, it's unsettling, and you're actually scared for the characters. So I'll give it that. But if it shot for an R rating and really went for it, I think this could have easily been an 8 or a 9. But I'm going to lock the Bye Man in at a 7 out of 10. It's very good. Now, we are at the 10th and final movie of this video. And I would just like to take a minute and say, if you've made it this far in the video, clearly there is something you've enjoyed about my content. If you would not mind, please consider hitting that subscribe button, liking, leaving a comment. I have the New Year's resolution of getting to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year so I can get fully monetized and start making a little, off of this stuff. And as of right now, I work a full-time job, and I do Monday through Friday. I do full long-form content for you guys. I also stream. But let me know in the comments, what would you like to see from me in the future? I'm gonna get back to the list. I just wanted to do that real quick for you guys. And the 10th movie is called Before I Wake. This is a Mike Flanagan produced movie, which I am a huge fan of Mike Flanagan. Haunting of Hill House is one of the best TV shows I've ever seen in my life, especially in a horror division. So, he also did Fall of the House of Usher, Midnight Mass, so many good things. And so, Before I Wake is a 2016 movie on Netflix starring Thomas Jane and Jacob Tremblay. And yeah, it's PG-13, and this is what I meant earlier when I said only a few finite amount of people are capable of taking horror and morphing it in a way that it's creepy, it's unsettling, it's scary, and it says something, and you feel the impact where the impacts are meant to be felt. And so this is about I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but this is about a mother and father who have lost their child. They decide to adopt a child. They bring them to their home, and after the first night, butterflies start appearing in the room, and then they see their dead son. And they go to hug him, and he wakes up, and the little boy is awake, looking around the corner. And essentially, what it is when this boy dreams, his dreams come to life. And earlier, when they brought him home, he saw a picture of their son and the little memorial they have for him up on, what do you call those big cabinets that China cabinet, I guess? What do you call it? But yeah, they saw a little memorial, and they explained that, their son passed away and stuff like that. And so naturally, he dreamt of their son, and their son came back. So they start really pushing the boundaries of what you should be able to do to you. They're trying to use this child, make him go to sleep, really flood his world with images of their child. And the mom is getting into it. The dad's like, I don't quite feel this is right. But the thing about him is he also has nightmares. And specifically, he has a nightmare about, what is his name? It's the Mothman. I thought I wrote it down. But anyhow, scary motherfucker. Big shadow figure that will fuck you up. He appears with moths. And he's synonymous with moths. The butterflies represent his dreams. The moths represent his nightmares. And that's all I'm really going to get into on that. Because this is the cream of the crop here. All right? It's very good. I'm going to give Before I Wake a 9 out of 10. It is very good. I really, really enjoyed it, and it was a great movie to end this video off on. As for my recommendation, look, Beau is Afraid is the movie that got a 10 out of 10, but I acknowledge this is not going to be for everyone. Even if you're a horror fan, this may not be for you. This is a very specific niche type of horror that you're either going to get it and you're going to love it or you're not. So, I think everyone who enjoys horror can enjoy Before I Wake. I think that is the one I'm going to send you guys off to watch because it's so masterfully done, and the fact that they were able to do it and have it hit so hard at a PG-13 level and have certain moments feel the way they do, it's really, really impressive. And I applaud Mike Flanagan for being able to do this, and I cannot wait for his Carrie remake that he has coming up. So, yes, our winner, the one I recommend off this list that you all go watch, is Before I Wake on Netflix. And with that, we come to the end of the video where I ask you guys, the next ABCs of Horror, it will be the C Division. Currently, I only have one movie picked out. It is called Cobwebs, and it's got Anthony Starr in it. And so I was going to check out that. I'm looking for 9 more movies. If you have any in mind that you would like to see me watch, review, let me know down in the comments. So, yeah. I don't have any other movies off the top of my head that start with a C, so I'm actually going to have to do a rundown. I'll let this video simmer for a couple of days so you guys can let me know in the comments if there's a horror movie that starts with C that you would like me to put on the next list. But I highly, highly appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, the whole process between watching the movies, doing the recording, editing, everything like that, it took me about 65 hours in total, and that's why these are so far spaced out, because I'm also doing Monday through Friday uploads, working a full-time job, trying to get shorts out there as well. So yeah, I pretty much do this as a second full-time job, and I'm really enjoying it. And at some point, you know, I wouldn't mind actually doing this for my real job. I enjoy it. I'm having fun. So yeah, like, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Like I said, I'm immediately going to start watching movies and getting stuff out of the way. I'll probably go watch Cobwebs tonight and get it down on paper. And let me know horror movies that start with C that you want me to review on the next ABCs of Horror. Thank you so much, and you have an excellent day. Bye.